Maharaj's daily class. Today is Tuesday. I guess Maharaj, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, shall we continue with our Chaitanya Charitamrita reading, or should we go to the Srimad Bhagavatam verse?
Tuesday is generally CC.
Yes,
so we can go with the CC section.
Yes, Maharaj. So, Chaitanya Charitamrita, AdiLila, and chapter 7 and verses 18 and 19. I'll share my screen. My internet may be a little slow, Maharaj, on my side. I'll switch on off my camera. And this is a new laptop for me. Okay. Are you able to see my screen, Maharaj?
It hasn't come up yet. Now it has. Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Dharma, come over here. There's plenty of room. Bring your chair over there. That chair is not so good. That's the one with the spring, the broken spring in it. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Yan Sabalame Prabhu Nitya Vihara Yan Sabalame Prabhu Kirtana Prachar Yan Sabalame Karena Prema Aspadan Yan Sabalame Dana Tare Prema Dan. The internal devotees or potencies are all external. The internal devotees or potencies are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. Only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtan movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love. Only with them does he distribute this love of God to people in general. Purport. Distinguishing between pure devotees and internal or confidential devotees, Srila Rupa Goswami in his book Upadesh Amrita traces the following gradual process of development. Out of many thousands of karmis, one is better when he is situated in perfect Vedic knowledge. Out of many such learned scholars and philosophers, one who is actually liberated from material bondage is better. And out of many such persons who are actually liberated, one who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is considered to be the best. Among the many such transcendental lovers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the gopis are the best, and among the gopis, Srimati Radhika is the best. Srimati Radhika is very dear to Lord Krishna, and similarly her ponds named Shamakunda and Radhakunda are also very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati comments in his Anubhasya that among the 5 tattvas, 2 are energies, Shakti tattva. The other 3 are energetic, Shaktiman tattva. Unalloyed and internal devotees are both engaged in the favorable culture of Krishna consciousness, untinged by philosophical speculation or fruitive activities. They are all understood to be pure devotees, and those among them who simply engage in conjugal love are called Madhurya Bhaktas, or internal devotees. The loving service and parental love, fraternity, and servitude are included in the conjugal love of God. In conclusion, therefore, every confidential devotee is a pure devotee of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoys his pastimes with his immediate expansion Nityananda Prabhu. His pure devotees and his 3 Purusha incarnations, namely Karano Daksai Vishnu, Garbhado Daksai Vishnu and Shirado Daksai Vishnu always accompany the Supreme Lord to propound the Sankirtan movement. And again, Timirandasya Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami 16th Namaste Saraswati Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Nesatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhistya Vipasindum Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyam Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Ganadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The first line of the purport describes what is being said throughout the purport, a distinction between pure devotees and internal or confidential devotees. Confidential devotees are actually pure devotees also, but confidence means that they usually assist or accompany the Lord in his different leelas in different places when he appears. Many of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were gopis, or even some were in other leelas with Krishna in Vrindavan. In fact, most of them were in Madhurya Ras. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as it says, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Srimati Radharani is the internal mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, he carries with him her mood of bhakti, and he also carries her color. She is called Gaurangi, and he is called Gauranga, which means golden-limbed. When before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world, he was with Krishna, he was with Srimati Radharani in the spiritual world, and he was describing his next advent in the material world, taking on her mood and her color, taking on her mood, not her color. And then she became quite, what we say, astounded and somewhat concerned. She said, if you take on my mood, you will not be able to live. And then she said, I'll protect you by giving you my color. So he was golden-limbed. He was protected by her color because as we hear from the pastimes of the Lord Chaitanya would go into many internal moods of Radharani's love for him, and his body would go through many, many transformations, and sometimes smashing to the ground. So we get an insight. It's not easy to understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he's called Namo Mahavidanaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namadi Golda Tristena Maha. He's magnanimous and he's merciful. Why is he merciful? Because he's making the process of devotional service easy. What was given by Krishna in terms of following the process of bhakti to achieve the results of that process, in other words, love of God, is now easily given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But this is also in line with the nature of the different yugas. We have 4 yugas. There is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, which is the present yuga. And the qualifications of the people in each of the ages is different. Because people were highly qualified in Satya Yuga, They lived longer. The atmosphere was more conducive. But the process of self-realization was, at least comparatively speaking, difficult. The people would meditate for thousands of years following the Ashtanga yoga system. Yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara, pranayama, dharana, dhyana, and ultimately samadhi. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita explains that process, but then it is rejected because in this age it is too difficult or not even possible for people to make even the arrangements needed to undergo such rigorous austerities to achieve love of God. But in the Satya Yuga, it was done by everyone, at least those who took it up seriously. And of course, we have the example of Valmiki Muni, who wrote the Ramayana. He lived in Satya Yuga, and he lived for 100,000 years, but he meditated for 60,000 years. We can't imagine how the human body could last that long, only because of our experience in Kali Yuga shows us how fragile the human body is in this age. And that is due to the decline of the ages. So in Satya Yuga, people lived up to 100,000 years. The process was the Ashtanga Yoga system. In the next age, Treta Yuga, people lived to 10,000 years. And the process was Agnihotra, doing the fire sacrifices, offering grains, ghee, precious metals, different types of items into the yajna by chanting mantras, the priests pouring the ladles of ghee into the fire while the mantras are being chanted. But in order for that to be perfect, the Brahmins, who are the priests, would have to chant the mantras perfectly. If there was any discrepancy in the sound vibration of the mantra, the whole yajna was null and void. But the qualifications of the Brahmins in that age was so developed that they could chant the mantras properly. We have the example of how when there was need to create something by the process of mantra, because mantras can bring things about, mantras can develop things, and mantras can also destroy things. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, you have the example of the life of Vritrasura. When, who was that sage? I can't remember his name. Vishwarup. Vishwarup he assisted the demigods in helping to develop powers in order they could fight against Vishwasura. But Vishwarup also had tendency towards the demons also, and he would also do puja to the demons. When Indra found out about that, he became angry and he killed Vishwarup. Vishwarup's son, Twasta, became angry because his father, Vishwarup, was killed by Indra. So he wanted to destroy Indra. So he performed a yajna to produce a powerful fiery demon to destroy Indra. But when he was chanting the mantra, he did a slight deviation in the sound vibration. Instead of chanting a long A, he chanted a short A. Just a very slight deviation. And what the result of the yajna was, instead of getting a demon to kill Indra, he got a demon that was going to be killed by Indra, and that was ultimately Vishwarup. I'm sorry, not Vishwarup, but Hare Krishna. That was ultimately, let me see, Vikrasura, not Vikrasura, but Vrishasura. So, yeah, just to give you an example of how chanting of the mantras has to be precise when these yagas are performed. Otherwise, the whole yaga is either null and void or you get an opposite result. So that was in Treta Yuga. In Dwapara Yuga, people lived up to 1,000 years. That was the time when Krishna appeared in the very end of Dwapara Yuga. And the means for self-realization was the Pancharatriki system, worship of the deity, but not the way we worship the deity, but with great, great pomp, wealth, beautiful arrangements for deity worship, and chanting of the mantras also. Uh, and people, and Prabhupada said, I have given you, at least in this age, only 20% of the process of deity worship. You cannot perform more than that in this age, because it says, Manda sumanda matayo manya bhagu padatya. In this age, people are not spiritually qualified. They are more inclined to material life. They are more inclined to economic gain. They are more inclined to sinful activities. For people to take up spiritual life in the age of Kali, it's very difficult. So therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Namo Mahavadana, very magnanimous, and he has come to introduce the process in this age for people to become self-realized, and that is chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But still, even though it's so apparently easy, people still can't stay with it or perform it the way it should be performed. So that is the disqualification in this age. But if one dedicates themselves in a serious way to chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can develop the qualities of a Vaishnava and also perfect their devotional service through the process of chanting. Chanting alone is the essence. Of course, chanting expands itself out and in forms of the activities of devotional service, such as reading Srimad Bhagavatam, associating and serving devotees, taking Krishna Prasadam, worshiping the Lord in his deity form just to support our process of chanting. We perform deity worship in this age just to give substance or support to our chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But deity worship is not the means for self-realization in this age, but it helps to purify the consciousness so we can develop qualities in the mode of goodness. And when you develop the qualities of the mode of goodness, then you can more readily and naturally engage in devotional service. The lower modes, such as passion and ignorance and all of their characteristics, must be totally rejected and left behind by the devotee if they want to make progress in devotional service. Especially the mode of, well, of course, devotees are not so much in the mode of passion, ignorance, but they work in the tendency of the mode of passion. What is the mode of passion? And the mode of passion is fruitive activities, performing an activity which for some personal gain. And that will pollute one's devotional service and make devotional service hard. So to come to the mode of goodness, one has to perform some deity worship, especially for those who are in household life, as Srila Prabhupada has emphasized, that those who in household life, who live with family, must regularly worship the deity. Otherwise, their falling down in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed. So for grihastas, especially, deity worship is mandatory. Either you take it up in the local temple or you do it at home, or even combination of both. So it's necessary. But the essence of the practice in this age is Harinam Sankirtan. Krishna Varnam Tusa Krishna Sango Panga Saparshadam Yagyai Sankirtanai Prayai Yajantihi Sumedasaha. Su means good, Medasa means intelligence. Those who have good intelligence will seriously take up this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Those who have Alpa Medasa, Alpa means meager, as Prabhupada said, consciousness filled with cow dung, not very intelligent. they will not find any attraction for the chanting of the holy name. And even if they take it up, they can't stay with it. But devotees who understand the position of the holy name and the mercy of the holy name will take it up seriously and perfect it and ultimately achieve the same results as those who achieved in previous ages. That is, they can come to the stage of Prema Pumartha Mahan, which is to develop love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as Lord Chaitanya is, Radha Krishna, he's teaching not Vaikuntha realm, but he's teaching Vrindavan realm, or he's encouraging us to come to the stage of worshiping Krishna in the mood of Vrindavan. And that all centers around the holy name, because Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtan Yat Ratinjan Milo Kena Upai. That this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not part of the material world. It's descended from the spiritual world into the hearts of the great souls who practice it and worship the Lord through chanting. And by their magnanimity and by their compassion, they spread that same mercy to the conditioned souls in this age. And we can see when people take up the chanting very seriously, they become happy and they give up all of their bad habits like that. So, and of course, as it says here, Lord Chaitanya, many of his devotees were many of the associates of Krishna when Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago in Vrindavan. There is one book called Gora Ganadesh Deepika, which describes who's who in Lord Chaitanya's Leela, which gopi appeared as one of Lord Chaitanya's eternal associates. We all know that Sarup Damodar Goswami was Lalita, Ramananda Roy was Vishaka. These were associates of Lord Chaitanya. And of course, many, many others like that. Many of Lord Chaitanya's, Rupa Goswami was Rupa Manjari, there was Kasturi Manjari and Rati Manjari. The Manjaris, Prabhupada has written, and it's also mentioned in Shastra, that we, as devotees in the Hare Krishna movement, we are in Manjari Bhav, not Gopi Bhav. Manjaris are also gopis, but they have a different role than the gopis in the spiritual world. They assist Srimati Radharani and they assist Krishna in coming together to perform their pastimes. The gopis have direct relationships with Krishna in conjugal love, but the Manjaris don't. They don't favor either one, or they favor both. Some gopis, some manjaris are inclined to Krishna, some inclined to Radharani, and some are inclined to both. So our movement is to develop the mood of the manjaris, which means to bring Radha and Krishna together in their wonderful pastimes. And that is done by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because the kirtan is actually Krishna and his gopis in the rasa dance. There's two photos that are side by side. You can see them in Vrindavan in the palace on the ceilings. You'll see Krishna dancing with each different gopis, and then the next picture you see Lord Chaitanya dancing in kirtan with his associates. There's no difference. One who sees difference actually doesn't see like that. So this chanting, this kirtan is on the highest level of spiritual expression. So one who takes up kirtan seriously and likes to chant, and of course, what is the result of chanting? You dance. And when you start dancing, you become happy. And when you become happy, then you understand, this is it. I made it. At least I made it to the point of understanding the process. So sometimes we don't take part in kirtan because we think. Some devotees who joined our movement look at kirtan as like something sentimental. They like to study books. They like to philosophize. That's also there, but that's not the Yuga Dharma. The Yuga Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan. Krishna Varnam Twasak, I said that one, but Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigrahad Punya Sudya Nitya Mukta Abhinna Tvam Nami Nami No. If you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially we are in the 7th chapter, which is called The 5 Features of Lord Chaitanya. When Srila Prabhupada started to present Chaitanya Charitamrita, he didn't start with the AdiLila Volume 1. He gave us this 7th chapter first in a smaller book called The 5 Features of Lord Chaitanya. That book is still circulating amongst the devotees. And then, after speaking on that one book for a while, then Prabhupada started to deliver the Chaitanya Charitamrita in a systematic way. But he wanted to emphasize the essential by this particular chapter emphasizes Harinam Sankirtan of Lord Chaitanya with his confidential devotees. Okay, so there's a little bit about, and in this age, if we take it up seriously, we can become fully self-realized. And it's susukam kartamavyayam, it's joyful. It's saying people like to sing, people like to dance, but in the material world, they do it in order to escape from their suffering. And in order to do it, they have to get some intoxication. Devotees also get intoxicated. They take prasadam, and then they get intoxicated, and then they want to chant and dance. So, but it's not like you do it when you occasionally. We should be doing it every day. Kirtan is also a factor of everyday activity. Of course, the morning program, and then of course the evening program. The temples are meant, and you'll find in one verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Srila Prabhupada writes in one purport that in every temple in ISKCON there should be 3 hours of kirtan every night. It's in the CC. You can find it in Madhya Lila, chapter 3, verse 203 in the purport. And in there, Prabhupada explains that this chanting is not something we should do occasionally, but regularly. Madhya Lila, chapter 3, verse 203. You want to go to that purport just to confirm that I'm not trying to say something.
Yes,
Say something to teach you. Verses. We have to get to the verse. You can't stay there.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, sir. It's a little slow. Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stay at the house of Advaitacharya. What did he do? He stayed there for 1 month, and they did kirtan every night and talked about Krishna throughout the day. That's why we have these festivals to, when we say, energize our spiritual life by having kirtan and talking about Krishna consciousness throughout the day. And
Maharaj,
words
are you
of,
able to see my screen? I went to the verse 203.
yeah, okay. Just go down the page a little bit, just slightly. Okay, stop there. Let's see. It says here, if one has proper means and wealth, he should occasionally invite the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, who are engaged in preaching all over the world, and hold a festival at home simply by distributing prasadam and talking about Krishna during the day, and holding congregational chanting for at least 3 hours in the evening. And then here it is. This procedure must be adopted in all centers of the Krishna conscious movement. And right there it is. Must be adopted, not optional. Thus they will perform Sankirtan Yajna daily. And sometimes with the temples, they struggle so much. Why they struggle so much? Because they don't follow Lord Prabhupada's have kirtan every night for 3 hours. And then you'll see people will start coming. Money will start coming. Everything will happen because when there's kirtan, then Lord Chaitanya is pleased. And when he's pleased, then everything becomes auspicious and there's no problems. Problem is we don't have enough kirtan. That's our problem. You should preach that in Croatia. Tell them to wake up. Okay, we'll stop there and open it up for questions. You see, this temple is alive. Every night there's kirtan. Every night for hours, from about 6:30 until the deities take rest till 9:15. Every night. Even,
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
there's no festival, but still they have kirtan every night, right? And that's our success. Okay.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Such a wonderful class on this verse. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead. Please turn on your cameras if possible.
Yeah, there's also many devotees sitting around, so
Yes,
we may also have questions from this side also. We
Yes,
have
Maharaj.
3, 6, 9, 13. We have 13 devotees sitting here.
Yeah,
So,
nice.
Manisha,
So-
she didn't decided not to come, huh? She came yesterday.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Actually, Maharaj, I'm in Indore, that's why.
Oh, you went to Indore.
Yes, just bring some stuff, that's why.
Okay, come back.
Maharaj, I have a question. Should one, should we read first Chaitanya Charitamrita and then we read Srimad Bhagavatam is okay, or should we first read Srimad Bhagavatam then Chaitanya Charitamrita?
You'll hear both, but if you understand what the acharyas have said and what Prabhupada presented, you'll see that it's clear. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati says that those who read first Chaitanya Charitamrita can then understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Because what is Chaitanya Charitamrita? It is Bhagavatam. It's no different. But what is Bhagavatam? It's the life of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and all his activities. So this is a life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his activities. So it's none different than Bhagavatam. And when Prabhupada presented Bhagavatam in the very beginning of the first canto, he spent 60 pages just writing about Lord Chaitanya's life in a somewhat of a synopsis form, just to introduce Lord Chaitanya as the essence of Bhagavatam. So that's the answer. Read CC first. But my answer is read both at the same time.
Okay, Maharaj, I will try to read both at the same time.
Start with this chapter 7, and then after you finish, then you go back to AdiLila chapter 1. Read this 7th chapter first.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, any other questions?
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I have a question. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about the internal confidential devotees of the Lord. So when they come for a pastime, to perform in a pastime, so will they already have the love of Godhead in their heart, right? But that is covered in that particular lifetime, like when they come in that particular pastime, is it covered, or how
No,
we
it's
can
not.
understand?
No, his internal devotees, they're not covered at all.
Okay.
No. They're the confidential servants. They have love of God. Many of them are eternal associates of Krishna in Vrindavan, who reappeared with Lord Chaitanya to take part in his pastimes. The Nitya Siddhas.
Okay.
They're not sadhana siddhas. Many of them, not all of them, but most of them.
So
Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, the Goswamis, they're all eternal associates of the Lord. Most of them are all gopis.
So in the context of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they are Jaya Vijaya, and they are also internal associates of the Lord, right, Maharaj, in the Vaikuntha.
In Vaikuntha, yeah.
So
they have a different mood.
Okay. So we can't compare them with these devotees.
No. They have the mood of awe and reverence. In Vrindavan, there's no awe and reverence. It's only spontaneous attraction to Krishna.
Okay, Maharaj, understood.
Questions from the local devotees here?
The devotees?
Who has a question?
One second, Maharaj. I think.
I have a question. I have a question here in the local.
Yes, Maharaj, please.
Okay. Prasida Chaitanya will ask his question.
Yes, Maharaj.
Our mood is to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya's teachings, which is the mood of Vrindavan. Not necessarily all the devotees are going to enter into Madhurya Ras. He's also Sakya Ras is also there. And of course, Vatsalya Ras, but not so much. Most of the devotees who follow Lord Chaitanya are either in Sakya Ras or Madhurya Ras. So most of the time we discuss about the class. When we do teaching, so most of the time we discuss about especially verse of chapter 18. And now you are telling now in Kali it is rejected because in Kali people are not used to surrender. They have their tendency not to surrender to Lord. So in Kali Mahamantra is given by Mahavadanya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So somehow how we should relate, because every time we think this is the tendency of teaching and. Well, he's asking that verse that Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the culmination of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, to surrender into him and to give up all other ideas on how you can make progress in spiritual life and just depend on Krishna. You surrender to Krishna, in other words, become Krishna's devotee. But so the question comes down to, but in Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya doesn't speak surrender. He says chant. He says chant, and then of course the acharyas give us. I mean, Lord Chaitanya gave 5 principles to Rupa Goswami as the foundation for the execution of bhakti. 1 was to chant the holy name. 2 was to worship the deity in the temple. 3 was to hear regularly Srimad Bhagavatam. 4 was to associate with and serve Vaishnavas, and the 5th was to live in the holy place. So these make up the process of bhakti that we perform like that. So Prabhupada said, yes, chanting is the Yuga Dharma, and chanting in itself can bring one to pure devotional service. But unless you follow the process given by the acharyas, you will not actually be able to perfect your chanting. So we need to hear Bhagavatam every day. We need to associate with and service devotees, and for grihastas, you need to worship the deity. But these are supporting our chanting. And if chanting is not there and you do everything else, then you cannot reach perfection in this age. You must chant also.
Not Gopi, she Manjari.
Who?
Tulsi Madhavi is the facilitator of
Tulsi? She's Vrinda Devi.
Vrinda Devi, the
Yeah. She's a gopi in Vrindavan. And she's the assistant of Purnamasi. Purnamasi runs Vrindavan, and her assistant is Vrinda. And they make arrangements for Radha and Krishna's pastimes. I mean, they have echelons too in the spiritual world. They have their CEOs, they have their assistants, and then they have the assistants of the assistants. And there's every gopi, there's gopi groups too. There's gopis are not all in one group. They have their own different, what we say, groups of gopis, different kinds of gopis, different moods of gopis. It's very variegated, as variegated as you see the material world, but even more so. If you read, you can learn more about it from the acharyas, especially Jiva Goswami and Rupa Goswami. You should read this just to understand what is our pantha, what is our path. We can't assume the activities of these personalities, but we can understand a little bit about the process and what is the goal of the process and how to reach that goal. Okay.
Maharaj,
do you have a question on your side?
Yes, Maharaj. Mayur Prabhu he typed a question on chat. He's asking, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. I have heard this saying before about devotees being called sentimentalists, particularly around Kirtan. Could you please explain what this means, as I am unable to understand it?
Yeah, we're spiritual sentimentalists. Sentiment is necessary for bhakti because sentiment is the feature of a quality of love. But when a sentiment is connected with something material, it's just what it is. It leads one away. Direct your sentiments towards Krishna, your feelings, your worship, your mood, your emotions. Bhakti is emotion, but it's guided by intelligence, not just emotion or sentiment. As Prabhupada said, philosophy without religion is simply, what does he call it? Philosophy without religion is simply mental speculation, and Religion without philosophy is sentimentalism or fanaticism. That's why we have so many books. So our sentiments don't get misguided and become somewhat connected to something material, and we mistakenly think it's spiritual. But we shouldn't try to, I mean, there is Lila Kirtan, but we don't do Lila Kirtan. Sometimes we do, some devotees do that sometimes. But that's for devotees who are a little bit more developed in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada didn't really push Lila Kirtan. You do Kirtan, and then it supports the Leelas at the same time. In other words, you have Krishna's Leela, but it's encased within Kirtan. But Prabhupada said we should do Kirtan as directed by the Acharyas. And he also gave rules, regulations, restrictions on how Kirtan must be performed. So if we don't follow those rules, regulations, and decide to do Kirtan in the way we want to do it, then it all may enter into the element of sentiment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he says, thank you so much, Maharaj. This makes so much more sense.
Yeah, Sri Devi has a question here.
Yes, Maharaj.
First sentence was differentiating between pure devotees and confidential devotees. So from your explanation, my understanding is that the confidential devotees are always pure devotees, but pure devotees may not be confidential devotees. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And if so, then can the pure devotees never ever become confidential devotees?
No.
Or is that progression?
She's asking based on the first sentence in the purport, confidential and pure devotees, both are pure, but pure devotees may not be confidential devotees. Can pure devotees also become confidential devotees? Yes, they can. It's not like the confidential devotee program is closed and it's filled up and there's no more allowed in. Yes, Karshini Radha has a question.
Yes, Maharaj.
That Maharaj gave to handle her needs, that she gave protection. How does that protection help?
She said that'll protect you when you go into to your ecstasies. So he used to crash to the ground, and if you read Chaitanya's Charitamrita, the different moods of ecstasy that Lord Chaitanya went, that anybody who would go through that, I mean, your body would be smashed to pieces. And so,
Maharaj, can you repeat the question?
yeah, she wanted to know what was the purpose of Lord Radharani giving Krishna her color.
Okay.
To protect him from being devastated while he was in ecstasy, because she understood her love for him, and if he was going to go through that same mood, he wouldn't live. So she was very kind, as always.
Thank you, Maharaj. We have two more questions.
Yeah, you just read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll see the ecstasies that are mentioned in AdiLila, Lord Chaitanya undergone when he was in Gambhira and they had him in one room. He would take his face and just grind it against the stone, and his face would be bleeding, crying in ecstasy and separation from Krishna. And sometimes he would climb the wall and get out and run along the beach, calling out to Krishna. Although he's Krishna himself, when he would enter her mood, he would exhibit that mood of devotion. And he also ran right into the ocean. Only a fisherman picked him up on his net one time. The fisherman thought he had a big fish, but it was actually Lord Chaitanya who dove into the ocean in ecstasy of Radharani. And when the fisherman picked him up, he felt something about it, and he thought a ghost had entered his body from this body that he picked up from the ocean. So he took the body and put it on the sand, and the devotees were looking for Lord Chaitanya at that time, headed by Sarup Damodar. They found Lord Chaitanya, but this fisherman was there. He was just madly speaking like some crazy man. And then Sarup Damodar understood the whole thing, and the man kept saying, "Ghost, ghost, 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 ghost." So Sarup Damodar said, "I'm an exorcist." So he took him and slapped him. And he came back to more of a normal consciousness. So if you go into ecstasy, we slap you. Very nicely. To get you back to normal when you're getting too much ecstasy. So anyway, that's pastime is there. You can read it in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Manisha Mataji, before your question, I'll ask Rishabh Prabhu's question. Rishabh Prabhu is asking how to have such ecstatic and intense Kirtan, Maharaj, that we have when you are leading. That Kirtan can make Hiranyakashipu a pure devotee.
Tell him to come tonight for Kirtan. And if he knows any Ranikashipus, bring him along.
Rishabh Prabhu.
That was one of his, what we say, different type of questions. Yeah, we see, and there's many examples of people who get exposed to the chanting of the holy name, and they just all of a sudden experience something that they never experienced before. In the when Lord Chaitanya came and performed kirtan, and he with his devotees to march on the house of Chandkazi, there were millions of devotees, and they were marching, singing, and dancing. And then people were abandoning their homes, and they were joining the kirtan. And then the thieves were thinking, wow, now we can go in and steal everyone's stuff. But when they started to do it, they got caught up in the kirtan, and it says they forgot they were thieves. And the Muslims, when they came near the kirtan, their beards started to turn and get on fire just by the power of the kirtan. You could read that pastime. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it's in Chaitanya Bhagavat. 745 verses in Chaitanya Bhagavat. It's really a detailed explanation of that kirtan. When you read that, then you can understand our movement. If we were to perform, if every devotee in ISKCON were to perform kirtan, just one day all around the world, the whole world would change. No doubt. You imagine millions of devotees just chanting and dancing in the street, the whole place would change. That's, if we want to change this world, all we have to do is do kirtan. It pushes back the influence of Kali Yuga in the most complete way. Harinam Sankirtan.
Yeah, we need your blessings, Guru Maharaj.
Well, come to the kirtan tonight. Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but anyway, devotees are getting geared up for tonight's kirtan.
Yes, Maharaj. Manisha
Okay.
Mataji.
Yeah.
Maharaj Manisha.
We're going to have to leave a little earlier today because
Yes.
I've been invited to a special program in the tent there. So
Okay.
we can take one or two more questions and then
Yeah. Manisha Mataji, you want to ask or shall I go with Sonal Mataji?
Please go with Sonal Mataji.
Okay.
Speak.
Thank you. So Sonal Mataji, you want to unmute and ask or should I read the...
Others you can read because I've
Yeah, sure.
Sona, where are
Maharaj.
you? Come on, quit hiding. You can do it. Say
Yeah, please
something.
ask.
okay. I can read it then. Please accept my humble obeisances, Maharaj. My obeisances to all the devotees. Well, so when we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, it takes us to the mood of awe and reverence. Whereas when we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita or any pastimes of Chaitanya, they are slightly more relatable because they just happened 700 years ago in terms of lifestyle or say social structure of those pastimes. So shall we just hear these pastimes from the gurus or authorized teachers? Or shall we have any special mood while we are listening to them?
Special mood and just try to hear and try to absorb yourself in the sound vibration. If you're hearing from those who are qualified to speak, then your purification is happening all. I mean, Sukadev Goswami narrated and Maharaj Pariksit heard for 7 days. And after 7 days, he was completely purified just by hearing. Just by hearing. Especially Bhagavatam. That Bhagavatam is pure sound vibration. Chaitanya Charitamrita also. So if you hear from persons who are authorized, not from anybody, but those who are authorized to speak, those who are in disciplic succession, then there will be a transformation in consciousness.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Sonal. You're in London?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, so should we stop here?
Yes, Maharaj, sure.
Any more questions locally? Yeah.
Any last minute questions, dear devotees?
I've been invited to a musical rendition. It's just about started right around now, so
Yes,
we have
Maharaj.
to go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So we'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully. Actually, tomorrow might be a little more difficult because 4 o'clock starts the ceremony in honor of Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. 4 means half hour before our class starts. So I don't think I'll be here tomorrow.
Yes,
But anyway, we'll be back soon. In the meantime, you can read up on those of you who are attending the class. Read the verses. Tomorrow would be necessarily back to Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam. Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so
All
much.
glories to
Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru
Jai.
Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you so much, everyone. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hari, 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 Hari.
Thank you so much,
Ho.
Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mother.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.